I want to turn now to the second assassination attempt against former President Donald Trump. Mr. Speaker, I know that you were with the former president just moments after the attempt on his life on Sunday. What did you make of his mood? I know it takes a lot to rattle this man, but how is he doing?
Listen, he is an incredible, singular figure in American history. My wife and I, Kelly and I, were happened to be at Mar-a-Lago to meet with him. We spent almost 3 hours with him immediately following the assassination attempt. He was completely unrattled. He's the same steady Donald Trump. Here's the thing about him. There's never been a leader in American history who has been so aggressively attacked and yet remained so resilient and so strong. Donald Trump is fighting for the American people, and there's not anything they can do, even taking shots at the man, that will deter him. And so that's why we love him so much, and that's why we're supporting him, and that's why he's going to help us lead to save this republic.
There are reports out there this morning, Mr. Speaker, that you contacted the White House yesterday to ask why Donald Trump's protection detail hasn't been beefed up. Are those reports true?
Absolutely. I called the White House directly, and I demanded that President Trump get the same level of protection that the sitting president has. He's under so much threat, more than anybody, probably in the modern era, if ever. We have to make sure that the Secret Service is getting the job done. And if they have a personnel problem and we need to supplement it with local and state law enforcement, let's do that. If Congress needs to add a little bit more funding, let's do that. Whatever it takes, get the job done and protect President Trump, for crying out loud.
Okay, couple of questions. You announced yesterday that you're expanding the investigation into assassination attempt number 1 to include assassination attempt number 2. So now Butler, PA, and West Palm Beach, Florida will get the same attention. When does the public start to get questions answered? And I'm talking about basic questions. When we look at the guy who would be assassin number 2, Ryan Ruth in West Palm Beach, here are just a couple questions. How does an unemployed roofer living in Hawaii afford a flight to Florida, afford flights to Washington, D.C. over the last several months, and Ukraine? Don't forget, this guy's a Ukraine fanatic. Who's paying for all this? Where was he staying in Florida? Where did he get that Nissan SUV? Where did he get the gun? This is somebody who had a weapons of mass destruction arrest on his record. So if he bought this gun, how did he do that? And how did he know Donald Trump was going to be on the golf course on Sunday morning? That was not part of his public calendar. Again, Mr. Speaker, I know that you're pressing for these answers, but we just passed 60 years since Kennedy was killed, and more than 80% of Americans think that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. John Wilkes Booth did not act alone. When are we going to start to get answers to just basic questions?
Great, Rob. You're exactly right. The reason I put together that task force and that they're moving so aggressively is because we don't want this to be like a Kennedy assassination conspiracy thing. We've got to get the answers to the American people. Mike Kelly is the chairman of the task force. He is from Butler, Pennsylvania. He's served in Congress for many years. He's got steady hands on the wheel. We did a quick presser yesterday with Hill Press Corps, but they're going to be beginning now weekly press availability to explain the answers that are coming in as they are gathered. You asked some of the right questions. That's some on pages of questions that we have about this. And the thing about this second attempt is we have the shooter live in custody. That's a very rare thing. So we will be able to get those answers and get them to the American people. The main principle here is we have to ensure that the massive security lapses that happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, and obviously some lapses that happened on Sunday in Florida, never happen again. That's the thing. We've got to make sure that Trump is protected, and all of our officials are protected, and that's why the task force is doing this really important work. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mr. Speaker. I just wanted to ask if you have any concerns about Ryan Ruth's safety between now and trial. Again, I brought up Lee Harvey Oswald, and I bring that up because he never made it to trial after the Kennedy assassination. Do you have any concerns there?
Well, I think we all have concerns, Rob, but I do believe that given the past history of all this, there's very careful custody of this individual. He has a lot of information that we all need, and to secure the president and the former president and everyone going forward, we've got to learn what we can from this individual. I think he'll be well protected. I certainly hope and demand that that's true. But in the meantime, the task force is doing really deliberate work. They've already collected thousands of documents regarding the Butler, Pennsylvania event. They've questioned 23 witnesses already, and they're going to be preparing reports. But before the final report is produced, there'll be information forthcoming now every week now here forward. This is serious business. It's gotten the attention of the whole world. We got to make sure we do this right.
All right. Mr. Speaker, Mike Johnson, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.